It's Friday, May 1st, and this is, of course, the video log that takes 30,000 to a million. I'm going to show you a brief overview of the account. I'll show you what kind of crazy things have been happening. And also, I really want to talk about the oil ETF, not USO, but OIL. Because if you search in the search box right now on any brokerage, the fund is gone, and I can't actually find any news about it. So I'm gonna tell you my speculation and what I think happened with these cash settlements here overnight. Very interesting. I can't even bring up the history on my Robinhood website because the website is just probably so overloaded. The servers are probably like taking a hit because it's so the website has been so popular. So I guess it's a good problem to have. But anyway, the website has been running a little bit slow. Maybe I'll show you over here on the phone. I can display the phone on the screen. So maybe I'll show you what happened in the history there. But basically, it's just settled for cash. And it doesn't even say the holdings that I had that have been settled, just the options, the 5 options. It's very confusing, but I know that it's going to work itself out over time. I do have the cash into my account, at least it says so. So that's good. And so I'm gonna tell you some speculations, some theories that I have as to what happened here. Okay, so let's go into the account. I'm sitting at 75,154, but there's a down day, and markets are down 2% um, over here pre-market in the futures or whatever. Did you add money? No, I have no money. I'm unemployed right now. I can't add money. But I'm sitting higher than I did on Monday because I just went all the way up to 78,000 as recently as yesterday morning. Now, this is an unusual time for me to record. It's 4:55 a.m. I did not stay up this late. I actually waking up this early because I don't know, my schedule, sleeping schedule, like I mentioned, is very whacked out. So we'll see what happens with that. Okay, so I'm sitting at 75,170 at the moment. Markets are down a couple percent pre-open, so I'm expecting a little bit of a fall as well. And I'll take you through some of the positions and what I've done. As you may have noticed here, this option list is getting really, really big. Okay, I counted, I have sold over 40 options. Now, why did I sell so many options? Well, because it was getting a little toppy. What does toppy mean? It just means a little rich, or as the financial media likes to say, they like to say it's getting a little frothy. All right. So, oh, there's these calls right here. They've shifted them to 5:15, May 15th. Although that was like I bought calls for this for 2022, 2 years from now, and now they're here. But that should be settled. That should be non-existent here, because it said that it would settle for cash. It's worth zero right now, and I had it. This option was all the way down here below the Apple stock. It was the longest duration option. Anyway, you can see I have a lot of call sells, and instead of going short, right? Instead of buying puts against on the market, instead of selling credit spreads or whatever, I'm just selling calls against my positions that I currently have. So as they drop down, I get to collect some premium for it. Okay, so that's been the strategy here. I don't want to go outright short the market because, as money printing, central banks, buying up bond market. The Federal Reserve has made it possible for some way, some kind of tricks and loopholes to buy basically corporate debt. So they've bought corporate debt, and now it's really elevating the markets because there's not going to be many bankruptcies. So stocks aren't really going to go to zero. And I think that's going to be the new normal, actually. Maybe I should speak about this a little bit. I think that's going to be the new normal. I think bankruptcies are going to be a thing of the past. All right. I mean, now in order to become bankrupt as a company, you'd have to be really unpopular. I'm talking big companies. Okay. Not like a little independent restaurant across the street. So I think you'd have to be really politically unpopular in order for you to go bankrupt because there's so much backing now. There's an excuse to save everybody, and people are going to be able to blame their bad financial situation on the virus situation for a very long time. 2 years from now, somebody might be in financial trouble. It's like, oh, it's because we had to do this to our employees, well, about 2 years ago, and and just the same way, like people were recovering for 10 years from the financial crisis. I mean, it's 10 years later, right? If you can't recover in 10 years as a company, like, so, I mean, I don't want to sound snobby. Obviously, I wouldn't be able to run a company, especially one of that size. So everybody who's in that position, I'm sure, is doing a much better job than I would. But then again, I'm not a professional basketball player, and I can criticize a basketball player, right? Anyway, moving on. So, okay, so I have a lot of Cameco. I actually sold all 15 possible options on Cameco. All right, let me see. Let me go over here on Cameco so I can show you this. This is true. Oh my gosh, I'm getting so confused. The website's a bit slow, so as I scroll through it, messes up with my eyes, with my vision. Okay, so Cameco finished at 9.88, and it's probably gonna go down today as the market opens as well. And actually sold, look at this, 15 contracts. I don't know if you can see. 15 contracts. I have 1,500 shares of CCJ, okay, as collateral. All right, and right now that's worth a negative 1,210. So if Cameco stays around this price point, I get to collect this amount of premium, $1,210. So for a few months, that's not a bad payday to just a portion of the account. I mean, I think that's pretty decent. And I get to keep all my shares if Cameco stays around this level or drops a little bit. So that's not bad. I mean, divide that by, like, let's say 3 months. Um, that's 400 bucks, for just sitting over here in my leather chair. Okay, so I like that. And I only needed $15,000 of equity to do that. It's not bad. Not that repeatable though. You can't really count on this income, as you may know. Options, you don't want to do that unless you have a ton of money, like $1 million into your account or something like that. Can't really count on option premium for everyday income to pay your mortgage. You know what I mean? All right. So that's Cameco news. Wait, what just happened? Did I see 1027 on there? Sorry guys, this is obviously live and I don't do edits. This is just one take. Okay, he's just stuck. All right. Oh, it is up after hours. What the heck? 1027 is crazy. Well, anyways, I'm sure it will revert back. And if it doesn't, I'm going to have to sell some of these options, some of this stuff. I mean, I got $12 call, 10.5, so I'm going to be selling them at different prices, not necessarily just $10. I have one at 11 here. I have one at 9, unfortunately, but most of them are 10 or 11, so I have room to go up and still make still collect some gains from the appreciation. Okay. Now, I think it's time. This is the rest of the account here. You can pause the browser and just look at the symbol and then the amount of shares, and you can deduct all the information you need from that. As far as my holdings go, I've collected some dividends from former C-SPAN. Now I don't even know what it's called, ATCO. They had a rebranding. Okay, so I want to talk about OIL. All right, so if I go to the search box and I type OIL, it doesn't exist. It just comes up with USO or some other leveraged funds out there. And the thing is with the leveraged funds is they can manipulate their holdings in such a way that they don't, go into real big trouble, because they don't actually have to replicate 3 times the downside if the fund goes down. And it makes sense because if you have a 40% loss and you try to replicate that loss 40% times 3, that's 120%, right? So if you had $100 into a leveraged account, you would theoretically be owing $20. But that doesn't work like that, yeah? So it can't really drop that way. So these leveraged funds, they can manipulate a little bit. But OIL isn't a leveraged fund. And this may get into a situation where I don't know exactly what I might be talking about. So this is some real weird speculations here, okay? But what I think happened is that OIL and USO actually, what USO did was it changed its structure a little bit. But OIL, they're supposed to hold the front month future contracts, okay, and base their price off of that, okay? It gives exposure to the investor on that. However, they were forced to settle for cash, and why? Because the issue in the oil market became an issue of storage, right? So if you hold the contracts, and you um, and somebody, and you're supposed to collect, and you're supposed to get into your storage, right? You have no storage, so you have to settle for cash at any price. So once the contracts were due, um, OIL had to sell, and now because the price is negative, and they can't really give negative price to the investor in their brokerage accounts. Like if I have OIL, which I did, well, I actually bought at the negative price, but anyways, not at the time. But if I did, they can't just say, hey, for owing ETF or ETP, whatever, XYZ, you now owe $1,000, right, into your account, and you're going to have to go negative. That's not part of the deal, right? When you trade on the stock market, the worst that can happen to you, unless you trade on margin, is supposed to be that you lose all of your principal, right? You lose all your money. They can't just go negative all of a sudden, especially for a fund that's not supposed to be leveraged, right? That's not part of the deal. So now that they're settling for negative price, and not just any negative price, but deep into negative price, at like negative 40, okay, when oil price has been hovering in the teens, that's huge. That's really big. And so I think they're closing down the fund. They go bankrupt. It just broke, right? It doesn't function anymore. It doesn't have a mechanism that can function. And so I think that's why they shut down the fund, and now they're taking big losses because they have to settle for positive territory, right? I basically got my money back that I put into OIL, which is like $500 or something like that. It's not that big, but um, so I got the money. Sorry, the heater. And it happens like every time, huh? So I got the money back. They settled, and now they're nowhere to be found. And I haven't actually looked for news. If you have some kind of detail about what happened to OIL, just write in the comments, or like, I want to hear about it because I'm really interested on the mechanics part of all this. So, anyways, that's the drama of the day. Now enjoy your Friday. Probably, hopefully, I upload this before the market opens, but I might not. Market's pretty deep in the red right now, actually. Let me see. Yeah, negative 2%, something like that. Apple's down 3%. And metals are down, etc. So we'll see how it goes. But the biggest, the biggest thing I want to mention here is that I have been playing the downturn, the coming downturn on the market, possible downturn, by selling call options against all my positions. And then if I'm wrong, I'll just settle for cash and I'll just build up my cash position. If I'm right about this correction, then I'll take a hit, but not as big as the market would. I'll still get to collect premium over time. Okay, so that's the strategy right now for this account. I don't. Let me know what y'all are doing to manage the situation here. You think there's gonna be a drop, or there isn't, and why? And yeah. So holla at me. Can I say that? Anyway, I think I'm done for now. I'm gonna probably make another video on Monday with the sleeping schedule. I don't know how it's gonna look, but I think that's it. Good luck, y'all. Hopefully you're making more money than I am. Peace out.